when people hear like, oh, my homeboy didn't get he didn't get a bond, and it's because he has a long, criminal record.
Right.
Whereas somebody who it may be a horrible crime or a more serious crime, but they have never been accused of anything before, and they have significant ties to the community, and they have a job, and they went to school, and they have people come in because I have people come in at the bond hearings. I'll have your pastor come in, I'll have your coach come in, I'll have people write letters, people that's going to say, if you let this boy out or this girl out on bond, I'm gonna make sure he get back to court.
I hate to say it, but it just sounds like you're doing a lot of things public defender's not gonna be able to do, man. I don't see them doing that. I don't know.
They're not gonna. They may not be bringing witnesses in, but they'll argue for you. But they may not have time to collect those letters. They may not have time to, you got
pretty much you got to do that stuff yourself.
Yes.
Just tell your pastor, hey, this is bond this day. Can you come down?
Yeah, and then you got to convince your public defender to put them up there. Like, I got my pastor here.
I mean, to their defense, in their defense though, I mean, it's free. I would guess it's kind of like it's free work. So
That's right.
You better work with them, I guess. All right.
Yeah.
Since you're on that topic too, can you kind of break down, I guess the difference between
Can I ask a quick question before you do that?
Cool. Anytime, Slim.
All right. Hold on. First thing, I just wanted to add some. I had a good public defender before and a bad one, so I definitely agree with her. But that ain't got nothing to do with my question.
I know. It's all good.
My question is, you made a post, I think it was around like Christmas, and you said that
oh yeah, please get to that.
You got your client a bond, and somebody commented under it and it said, shit, if somebody robbed my family, I don't want them home for Christmas. How you feel about that statement?
So it was a murder charge.
Yeah.
And I'm an attorney, but I'm also a businesswoman. I got to make money.
Right.
And the way to do that is to let people know that I'm able to get bonds on people who are accused of murder. That's very important because it's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point in the process, at your bond hearing, this is maybe your second or third time going to court. Nothing has been proven. You're still innocent up until the time a jury comes back and says you're guilty, or until you take that plea. And in this case, it was, and I can't get into the facts too much because the case is still going, but he was a child. He was young, and it was an accident. But, it was an accidental shooting. It wasn't malicious at all. But they still charged him with malice murder, felony murder, possession of a firearm, ag assault. They whammed him, and it was
a lot of charges.
Right. And
about the fate. Think about it.
And it's clear, and to me, it's clear that it's an accident. And he's a child. Never been in trouble before. Good kid, clean cut kid. He ain't with this cool stuff. Clean cut kid. He deserves to be home, with his family. And anybody deserves to be home and fight their case. It is very hard to fight a case behind bars because you get discouraged and you stop believing in yourself and believing in your lawyer. And then you're more likely to take a plea. You're like, I'll do anything to get out of here.
Right. Right.
And when really you're innocent, or I just want to get out of jail and go to prison and start my time so I can get out. I want to get out of here. But so you need to be, and let's just say he was innocent. Let's say he didn't do it at all, completely. but he was charged with that. So why does he not deserve to be home, and fighting his case? I understand someone is dead, and and I'm always respectable in court about someone. There is always a victim in every case,
right.
But people don't. And what I really don't like about that, if it was his friend. Like, oh, me and my homeboy, they sent my homeboy down the road.
Yeah, free him.
You know what I'm saying? Free him. And
that's the first thing I told him about that when we had a conversation about it. I said, if it was your brother, you would have been happy as hell.
If it was your brother, because people, nobody cares until it's in your backyard. And I'm guilty of this too. Mm-hmm. When you hear things, you're like, oh my God, that's awful. They need to be in prison. Yep. But when they came and got my brother, I'm like, they don't know him. That's not his
So you
character.
see both sides of it
at
that point.
Yeah, you have
but
to.
What was the point of that? Whoever commented, what he was just trying to argue or something?
Yeah, he was trying to antagonize me.
Man, it was Blue. You know who Blue is?
Oh, I remember that.
I don't know him.
Yeah, I do remember that. That's why I stopped looking. That's why I was telling her I remember that, but it wasn't. I'm like, okay, it's him.
Yeah.
That's it. Just a good topic.
Yes, I was upset. Don't come for my client.
But he didn't know the details.
Right, and you never know. And if you were to read it or hear about it, it sounds awful because the victim was a young girl. I mean, she wasn't a child; she was an adult, but she was still a young girl.
Yeah.
Well, I guess before he asked that, I was going to ask, define to just people the difference between probation and parole. Now, I asked that because somebody asked me the other day, and I was trying to tell them, and they didn't want to hear it from me. I said, well, I'm going to interview a real attorney. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to let her know, and then maybe when she says something I'm saying, let me know. So if you could explain that to people.
So probation, we call probation an alternative to being in custody, but you can get time and still you do some time and you get home and you do probation. But the difference is a superior court judge or whatever judge is sentencing you, they sentence you to probation, and they put the conditions on it. But for parole, you're in custody, you're serving a prison term, and then the parole board decides, when you're going to be released.
Right.
So you have a judge for probation and you have the parole board for parole, and it's two different entities. So if you violate probation, you're going before that judge that sentenced you. If you violate your parole, you got to go in front of the parole board, and they're not judges, they're not lawyers either. These are people that are like elected into or appointed in these positions, and they're like teachers, or people in the community. So it's a different monster, Parole is more serious.
Yes, okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
parole is more serious because
you can have 7 years in parole and you're going to do 7 years. Like you go back.
Yeah,
go back and
they'll
do
make
that.
you go. They
for the smallest mess up, I guess.
Right.
Up to them.
Yeah, but to be honest, in my experience, parole officers it's easier. They're easier for me to work with than probation officers.
You got that status though. Like public defender walking in, like, hey, get out of here, man. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
I mean,
your shoes.
it's just. It just depends. It really depends on an officer. Like let's say he got arrested for something small. If it's not a violent crime, it's a theft charge. They're like, okay, we're not gonna revoke his parole. We're not gonna send him down for 2 years or 6 months for this. They'll give him some other conditions.
I mean,
but probation, they want some time.
All right.
Probation is about money and parole is about time. Your fine depends on what you did. Like if you got an ag and you hurt somebody, you paying their medical bills. So you on probation for them 20 bands.
Well,
it
depends on what they. Sometimes they don't ask for restitution. Sometimes they do.
Yeah.
And it fluctuates like depending on the charge. So if I had a theft charge and ag assault charge, he shot a guy's car, he had to pay to fix it. That was part of the sentence, and so you have to pay that along with your probation fees.
I guess I want to get into plea. I know we got other stuff I want to get into too, but I want to get into plea deals.
Okay.
And kind of knock that out. So what's the process of getting a deal in your opinion?
So they're always gonna give you a recommendation, whether it's if it's murder, the plea gonna be life with the possibility.
That's a deal.
That's a deal. It's not a deal, but they'll offer that'll be because they're gonna give you a recommendation no matter what. If it's a non-complex crime, when we go for arraignment, and that's just where they tell you what you're charged with, and they let you know that you've been formally charged, whether indicted if it's a felony, an accusation if it's a misdemeanor. They sometimes right there the prosecutor will have for me like the police reports, whatever statements, and some of the discovery, and she'll like, okay, here's the deal, here's our first offer, and I can tell you right there what the offer is. And I really hope people listen to this. Do not get offended if your attorney comes to you with a plea deal, because by law I have to tell you.
It's illegal to not tell them, right?
It's illegal to not. I have to tell you. So and the people are like, oh, you bargaining with my life and you don't believe in me? No, I have to tell you. And you may listen to the deal and be like, okay, I'm taking this. And sometimes it's reasonable, sometimes it's not. If it's not reasonable, I never take a plea that first day because I don't have all the discovery. I'm not pleading to anything unless I need to see all the evidence you have, and I'll look at it myself and I'll recommend to you whether or not I think you should take this recommendation. So you wait until you see all the evidence, but I always communicate it, and then I make them sign. So I'll put out what they're charged with. I'll put out, what they can be sentenced to, the max and the minimum. I'll put out the offer, and then I'll have them, if they're not gonna accept it, they have to sign.
Okay.
Because you're not gonna put it on me.
You have to sign to not accept it?
You have to sign for me, not for everybody.
Oh, to decline that offer.
My client, yeah. I'm gonna put you the offer in paper and writing.
Oh, just for your sake.
For myself,
okay.
Yeah, because I want to make sure, because if we go to trial on this and you get convicted, I don't want you to come back and say, well, my attorney didn't tell me that they offered me a sweeter deal. I would have took it. No, I cover my bases. You're gonna sign here and say.
I know when you spoke before you came in, I know y'all said y'all go to lunch sometimes like that. Dude, Is there ever a time where I pay for lunch, you give me a better deal, or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
I just
no.
figured
No.
ask,
and when I say we go to lunch, I don't often do that.
So let's say you go
I'm
to Ruth
friendly.
Chris.
Yeah, I'm friendly with them. Like we're friendly, but I don't do that a lot. I have friends that are prosecutors
on the other side,
and sometimes we have cases together, sometimes we don't. But I'm always respectful and not really friendly, but you're respectful, and we talk, because I'm going to see you again, and you're going to see me again, and I may need you again. So I'm respectful, but I'm not going to sell a client out. I'm not going to be like, well, I'll let you, take me on a date if you give him this, or
Not a date. Whoa.
Anything.
I'm just.
I don't, or money, because I didn't want to say money, because like, bro, I didn't want to, anything.
Yeah,
I didn't want
got you.
any. I was trying to give another example.
Got an evil job to do though.
That didn't have any money.
Yeah, I'm just saying like
let's evil job.
but it's not like you can't ask them for a certain kind of plea.
Oh yeah,
and
we
they say
ask.
okay, cool.
Yeah, and those are negotiations. We're negotiating.
Yeah, so you like when I negotiate, let's say you can't. I go to dinner. You pay for the food, like they give you a
no.
Oh, okay.
No, because that's unprofessional, and it's against, you can't do that.
But in negotiation, they do that sometimes. Like we do a lot of negotiations, like with meetings and stuff, and they'll try to wine and dine you. Oh, I want, say Slim, I want you to do my team photography. It take you to maybe Gary's Hamburgers. I don't know, something Columbia County.
Yeah.
And
no, not when it comes to someone's life and liberty. No, we don't do that. But I mean, they're
is it illegal to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
You can't sell anybody so you can't do that. So, but what has happened is, so how I do it, if I have a client that's charged with something and I know the evidence, because I have plenty of clients that tell. They go and they get interrogated and they give a statement. So they come into me like, listen, I told, but
snitching, that's what you call it.
Well, on themselves.
On
themselves.
Oh, they tell the truth.
Yeah.
Oh, they do that?
And so they're in
That's
trouble.
what's up.
Which is crazy. And then they called me, and so now I'm doing damage control. It's not about whether you did it or not, unless I can suppress that statement.
Man, the people that tell the most is people that steal from Walmart. They tell before they walk out of Walmart.
Yo, Slim is a wild guy, bro.
It's true. People that steal from Walmart, they gonna tell before they walk out of Walmart. They gonna be like, yeah, man, I took it.
Yeah, and at that point, unless your statement was coerced, I have to deal with the fact that you gave a statement. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to approach it differently. So what I do is, and I'm not going to give out all my secrets, but I make sure, I put everything together for my client. I want to know everything about you. Anything that's going to make you human to this person and not a case number, give it to me. And I'll go and law. If I know that you can't prove one element of this crime, everything else you got in the book, and I know you can't prove this element, I'm going to come to you. I'm coming to your office. You in court. Okay, I'm sitting outside. And here I'm like, I'll lay it out on the table, because you can pre-try a case before it goes before a judge.
Okay.
We go in the back rooms, like at court, while everybody's sitting out there, we'll go in the back room and we'll pre-try the case together. And by then I have my stuff ready. I'm like, this is what happened. This is what didn't happen. You can't prove this, or you can't prove that, or I know this is what happened, but let me tell you why it happened.
Right.
And like, let's bring it down, and then you get it to where you want it, or you get it dismissed. And so it's like you have to. And that's where it comes in with a paid attorney. You have to put that time into that, because I gotta put a case together before you go to trial, because I got this opportunity to either get it dismissed or get it brought down. So you put everything together, and that's how you negotiate. You gotta put something forward.
So I would assume it's safe to say that y'all got like a major influence in that process of the whole, like, just not even the plea, but just making sure the case is broken down to the best to defend them the best way you can defend them possibly.
Yes,
and get them the best outcome that you can get them.
Yeah. Sometimes you do, and sometimes, depending on the crime, people's hands are tied. So ADAs, if it's a serious case, they have a little, and all offices are different. They have a little less leeway. Like the head DA, which the district attorney, who is an elected official, will tell you, if this is a high profile crime, like, you can't offer this person, this is going to trial. Right. It's either we're gonna take life with the possibility, or we going to trial.
They're trying to get elected.
You can't go under. And so sometimes they don't have the leeway. Sometimes they do. If they have the leeway, that's when you gotta get in there and pump your client up, like, and put in any mitigating factors or any evidence. That you got to be your own personal investigator. I get out there. I'm going asking for surveillance. I'm going to talk to people. I'm calling witnesses. I'm recording. Like, what you do whatever. You put it at the forefront, and then you make it happen.
So. The last guest I had, we actually spoke, and he was saying that his plea deal was actually under the First Offenders Act. Me and Slim both agreed that we didn't understand whether that act meant anything, because he still got a lot of time, it seemed like. Right.
Oh, no, I took my first offender before.
No, we for him we talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I think you stole from Walmart, right?
Boy,
No, did you say
I ain't never stole nothing.
So you stole the all-score or something like that?
Yeah. Like, so for him, I know what you're saying. For him, it didn't make no sense for him to take his first offender, though, because it's already a felony that he's convicted of. That
I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's the point of it? Like, what's the origin of it? Like, what's the meaning of it? Besides,
okay, so if you get sentenced under the First Offender Act, you're only eligible if you've never been arrested for a felony.
It's your first one.
Your first time being charged with a felony, and this is your first felony. You can't have any felony convictions on your record. So it's like because once you're a convicted felon, that comes with a lot of stigma. You can't vote while you're still while you're in custody or while you're still on probation or parole, and it's hard to get. You can't live in certain places. People won't rent to you, and you can't. It's hard to get jobs. So what it allows you to do is, if you're sentenced under the First Offender Act, you go up and you take the plea. Like you go up there and you go through the whole plea colloquy, and you do whatever. If it's time, or if it's sometimes it's probation, sometimes it's time, and you complete it successfully, like you do not violate. Once it's over, like they withhold conviction. So if you complete it and you don't get any more trouble, it's like you don't have a felony conviction on your record.
Okay, so let me say it in terms of him, so I keep my theme going. All right, he got sentenced 15 years. He did 7. Well, the 85%, so 5.5 years. So he still got to complete that 7 years of parole. Without getting in trouble. And after that, he's normal, I guess.
Then he doesn't have a felony conviction on his record. It won't. So when you look him up, when you do his criminal background check, it won't be a felony conviction. It'll show the felony arrest, and he can eventually get that expunged, depending on the crime and things.
Probably depending on his money.
Yeah, and you pay the same fee to everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because my barber got his back.
Yeah, but you do that, but. So you don't have a felony conviction on your record.
So
and you can
it's
only
not about lesser time then.
No, it's not. And this is
very misleading.
Yeah, this
is
is
about your rights.
Yeah,
it's a very misleading thing.
Right. and
but eventually you're gonna want to have a gun to protect your home.
I agree with it now that she say that. That's why I wanted her to explain it.
Right.
You did a great job explaining that.
And this is and here's a drawback a lot of people don't know, and you don't explain it right. Let's say I took the First Offender Act for a felony ag assault, and they sentenced me to 5 years probation, and I've completed 4 years. On my 4th year, if I get into a fight and I get another charge, they can sentence me up to all that I just did don't count. They can revoke all that time and make me start over. They can sentence you up to your original charge, and people don't know that. So all them 3 or 4 years I did on probation don't matter. We starting over from they don't do that all the time, but they have the power to. Yes, and you start over from square one. And so that's something that I think people need to explain more to clients.
I think so too. This is kind of very misleading. Now,
it's something else they don't know neither. They think like, okay, if I get caught for this felony this time, I'm not gonna use it because it's just a possession charge. So next time when I rob a bank, then I'm gonna use my first offender. They don't know it go off the table.
It's off the table. Yeah. And you should, if it's offered to you and you're not gonna get in trouble again, take it. Yeah. If you're trying to walk a straight line, it's like, oh, you don't want a felony conviction on your record. I would take it. It's not gonna help you get less time. It's just more about
just for once you're done with all that stuff.
Yeah.
It helps you live a better life.
Yeah. Do you qualify for it? And if you do, we're gonna protect
I just think
rights.
with him, he was just trying to do anything to not. It's a lot of times, say 15 is a lot. I think we in the podcast he was saying how he went to school like thinking that if he go to school like they'll just throw it away.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't like that.
A lot of people think that too.
Yeah,
and roll to school and everything.
You try. That's what you try to do. You get back out there and show the judge. See, you gave me a chance. I'm out on bond. You gave me a chance. Look what I'm doing.
Try to humanize yourself.
Yeah, I'm an upstanding citizen. I'm going to work. I'm going to school. Like, this isn't my character. This was out of my character. You want to do what you can. He did the right thing.
I gotta ask. What in your opinion, what would you say is your biggest upset to date regarding a case? Person or you felt like if you had another shot you would did that, or you feel like maybe you didn't?
I haven't been practicing that long. I've only been practicing for 2 years, and so my clients that are mine, because I work with the firm, and so I have a senior attorney at my firm, and we do cases together, and he's lead on them, and I just kind of help out. So within my caseload, I'm pretty happy with how my cases turn out, right? But I have been on a case. And we just got finished with the case in Cobb County, and we're a doctor. They indicted him for a RICO charge because he had lost his license to practice medicine, and he had opened up. He still had shops. He was doing plastic surgery, and he had opened up shops, but he was not. He himself was not. He was not practicing medicine, so he wasn't doing the surgeries. It was his contention that he wasn't doing the surgeries. He was just overseeing. I'm owning it.
Managing it.
You're managing, and my face is on it because everybody. He was like kind of
popular.
Yeah, popular. And that case, that was one of those rare occasions where I felt like the prosecutor was hitting below the belt and being unfair, being unprofessional.
No lunch.
No lunch.
Gotcha.
It got to the point, and he was one of my professors at Emory, and I always I enjoyed his class, and he always enjoyed. He knew I wanted to be a criminal defense attorney, so he always picked on me because he was a prosecutor. And we had a good relationship, and halfway through the trial, because it was like 3 weeks, halfway through the trial, he was like, we were not speaking to each other. We were not even saying hello when we came in the courtroom, which is odd. You still speak.
So we get personal in the courtroom sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. And so with that case, he ended up it went to trial, and he was convicted, and he got a significant amount of time. And I did not, and there was nothing that I felt like I could have did.
Was that one of them cases, the hand tie case you talk about?
Yeah, and that was a case where he had to go to trial. They weren't offering him anything that he could take, and he's a doctor.
They didn't offer him nothing?
I mean, they did, but it wasn't something that he could stomach. Yeah,
gotcha.
He's a doctor, and he's never been in any trouble before. And it was just a very sad situation because he had the best of intentions, and the fact that they were even going after him, I thought was wrong. And so it was just hard watching him,
have to deal with that.
Yeah, it was hard when he got sick, because at this point the case had been going on for years since I was in law school.
Oh wow!
So I knew him, I knew his family, and it was hard watching him have to take that time. And it was personal because, well, I'm not going to say it was personal. Another doctor was also in the indictment, and we went to trial. We had a co-defendant, and he got significantly less time.
How do you feel when you go home? When that stuff like that happens, does it like ruin your day, or does it like stay on your mind, or do you have to get back if you got more clients? Like, how do you?
Yeah,
that?
You take a day. You take a day. Like, because trial is exhausting. People, it's like you're in a mental battle all day, and you don't know that. But using your mind is like physically exhausting sometimes. So, like, at the end of the day, when you go home from trial, you still got to get ready for the next day, and so it's like a marathon. And then when it's over and it doesn't turn out the way you want, it takes a toll on you. So you take a day, take it 2 days. You go to the spa, you relax, but you can't take it personally. As long as if you've done everything you can and you left it up to the jury, they come back with what they come back with, but you have to just know that's why you got to fight. Like, I did everything I could,
But like that feeling, like when it's read out, like how would that feel? Like just standing there next to this person, like when it's read out, like, what's that feeling?
It's
like?
hard, and that's not the.
Do you look at them? Like, do you just look forward? Do you look straight? Like what's going through everybody's mind at that point?
I look forward. I look at the judge. I'm listening. I look for. You don't want to get emotional. I don't ever want to get emotional in court ever. No, I don't.
I feel like Law and Order does that every episode. I'm saying they very like engaged and invested into every single case, and I know it's not life works.
And you do get invested in cases that go in trial. You get invested because you spend a lot of time with that person. And you don't. You
can't get emotionally invested.
Yeah, I don't take it personally, but it still kind of hits you.
Right.
Like man, this. But there are other things that, of course, now he's going through the appeal process, but it does kind of take a toll on you. But you can't, because if that's the case, I would always be sad. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. You got to keep going and just know that you did the best you could and keep it moving.
What about your proudest moment dealing with someone that was accused, or your proudest, I guess, case about thus far?
So, and this case it didn't go to trial. I ended up getting the charge dismissed. So there was this
Turn up.
Yeah. I like, listen, me working out stuff, that is what I do. Like I really enjoy like figuring out the case on my own and going back and getting it dismissed, because that's the best thing you can do, because you leaving it up to a jury, then it can go either way.
Ain't not like a dismissed case.
That's right. So it was this kid, and this case is over, so I can talk about it. There was a kid, and he was a great kid. I mean, he was in college. It was his senior year of college. He was at a great school. I won't say what school. At a great school. No criminal history. No nothing. He was in a fraternity. He came from a great family, and he was in a car. He was driving. It was his car, and he got pulled over, and they had guns and drugs and like vacuum sealers. It was a ridiculous money, and he was, and it was in because Fulton County, Fulton County is African American.
Right.
The difference is there. When I'm talking to a prosecutor there, they have that cultural background. They can understand. It's not foreign to them when I'm telling them. We can have this conversation and they know where I'm coming from, or they can understand. But we were in a county, like, I won't even say what county it was, and he got caught, so we get him out of jail, and I'm just like, what are you? Because his family had a relationship with my firm, and I'm like, what are you thinking?
Okay.
You
Plot
know,
thickens. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm like, what are you thinking? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, man, it's spring break, and we were, blah, blah, and I was just like, okay, we cannot. And his mom is on my line, and she was just like, he cannot go. This is going to ruin his life, blah, blah, blah. And they were offering him 2 years. 2, like 10 do 2.
Oh, wow.
You're right. 10,
Was he the only one in the car?
No, someone else in the car.
Okay.
And then we got it down to 6 months, and we were still fighting. Even his mom was like, "I don't care, no time, no
She said
6,
no 6
no
months.
6 months, nothing."
No.
He can't. And I didn't think he wouldn't. He's not that type of kid.
Gotcha.
So and I was proud, and the reason I was proud is because his mother was she was active. She loves her son, and she and they were professional people. She was on my back, and she had a relationship. Her family had a relationship with my boss, because my boss is a huge name in Atlanta. He's an older attorney. He was the first African American to have a law office in DeKalb County, and he was like T.I.'s lawyer. A lot of notoriety. They wanted him to be lead on the case, and Dwight was like, and at this point in his life, he's like, I don't do little stuff like this.
Gotcha.
He's like, I'll oversee her, but this is hers. And she would like, I would tell her what I was doing. She didn't have faith in me. She would go back to him and be like, I don't think she's doing the right thing, and I'm just like, listen to me, and she would do things, and like, she almost messed his case up. Like, she was doing things, and I was just like, can you please calm down? And we went to, and the prosecutor, she was the most conservative. Everybody was like, she is the most conservative person. So we went to court, and it was our last day. This was like, this is the day, like, this is the last, either we going to trial, or this is going to be a plea. And so I went in there, and we went back in the room, and we toughed it out for the longest, and she ended up dismissing all the charges except for, like, because he got pulled over for speeding, right?
That's what I'm talking about, man.
So everything got dismissed except a speeding ticket. I mean, and he cried, his mama was crying, everybody was hugging me, and so I was just, and I was proud, because I didn't think he deserved what happened. I know the background of the story. I didn't think he deserved it, but more so because his mom and his family didn't have faith in me.
But you got it done.
Yeah, a lot of people see me and they're like, "Oh, you're young," or
light
they're not going to, light skin. They're not going to take you. They're not going to take you serious. You're not, because